My name is Daniel, and for years I believed that life was something you earned after years of sacrifice, after decades of careful saving and playing safe. I woke up every morning before the sun came up, put on the same clothes, drank the same coffee, drove the same old car, and told myself, this is how you build a future. This is how you secure peace and comfort. So I worked every single day, even on weekends sometimes, even through holidays. I skipped parties, missed weddings, declined trips, said no to dinners, all because I was saving every single cent. And people around me said, Daniel, you should live a little, life is short, and you never know what tomorrow holds. But I never listened because I believed I had time. I believed that life was something that began later, after the planning, after the safety, after the bank account was full. And so I saved. I didn't buy new shoes. Even when mine tore, I didn't replace my phone, even when the screen cracked. I never upgraded my old couch or TV. I kept telling myself one day, when I'm ready, I'll enjoy when I'm rich enough, when I'm free enough, when I feel safe enough. But every time I looked at my savings, I told myself, it's not enough. Not yet, you still need more. And while I sat home eating boiled rice and beans, scrolling past the vacation photos of friends, sipping wine in Italy, walking hand in hand on beaches in Bali, hugging their children in Disneyland, I told myself they're reckless. They're not thinking about the future like I am. But somewhere deep down, I felt this emptiness growing, and I ignored it for years. Then one evening, as I drove home in the pouring rain, the road slick and the wind strong, headlights came out of nowhere, and in a blink, I heard the sound of metal on metal. My body tossed inside the car, like a puppet. My head smashed against something. I don't remember what happened next. All I know is, I woke up in a hospital room, cold white walls, wires in my arms, pain in every part of my body. A doctor standing beside me saying, Daniel, you're lucky you survived. It was a serious crash, but you'll be okay. And I wanted to smile. But all I could think was, what if I hadn't survived? What if I had died that night? What would have happened to the years of money I saved? What would have happened to the memories I never made, to the places I never visited, to the people I never met? What was the point of all that saving, if life could be taken so fast, so brutally? And I stared at the ceiling, unable to sleep, thinking about all those years I had spent building a future, but never living the present. I had no memories of laughter in strange cities, no pictures with strangers, turned friends, no sunrise seen from a mountaintop, no waves felt between my toes, no nights spent dancing under the stars, no spontaneous road trips, no impulsive love stories. Only work, save, sleep, repeat work, save, sleep, repeat. And for what? For the promise of a tomorrow that almost didn't come. And as I lay in bed day after day, watching nurses walk in and out, watching the rain hit the hospital window, I felt something change inside me, like my soul was waking up from a deep sleep. And I made a promise to myself. Right then and there, when I walk out of this hospital, I will not go back to that life. I will not go back to saving, just for the sake of security. I will not live in fear of spending. I will not postpone happiness. I will live now. I will taste now. I will breathe now. I will open my arms and let life flood into me with all its mess, all its magic, all its color, and slowly as my body healed, so did my heart. And the day the doctor said, you can go home, I didn't go to my old apartment. I didn't return to that cage of routine. Instead, I went to the airport. I bought a ticket to the first city I saw on the board, a coastal town I had never heard of before. And as I sat in that plane, for the first time in my life, I looked out the window as the clouds passed by, and I felt tears roll down my cheeks, not from pain, Not from fear, but from a quiet joy, from a feeling I hadn't felt in decades. Something that whispered, "This is living. This is what you've been waiting for. This is the breath you held for years." And when I landed and felt the sea breeze on my face and the sound of the ocean in my ears, I stood still barefoot in the sand, letting the tide kiss my ankles. And I just stood there for hours, not checking my phone, not thinking about work, not calculating cost, just existing, just feeling. And that evening, I sat by a bonfire and shared stories with people I had never met. I ate food that I couldn't pronounce. I danced without music. I watched the stars and didn't look away, and it felt like my soul was stitching itself back together, with every wave, every laugh, every moment. And a few days later, I met a woman named Clara, who had eyes full of fire and a laugh that felt like summer. And we spoke until midnight, sitting on a bench watching the sea speak its ancient language. And I told her my story, not as a sob tale, but as a confession. And she smiled, gently touched my hand and said, "Daniel, maybe you weren't living wrong. Maybe you just hadn't started yet." And those words felt like truth. And with her, I learned what it felt like to love. Without caution, to hug, without reason to kiss, without planning. And we traveled together to towns where no one spoke our language. We learned to cook meals from strangers. We got lost on purpose and found magic in alleyways, in bookstores, in tiny cafes. And for the first time in my life, I didn't think about money. I didn't think about savings. I just thought about today. And when we climbed a hill one evening and saw the sun melt into the ocean, Clara looked at me and said, "Thank you for not dying." And I laughed and said, "Thank you for teaching me how to live." And that night under the stars, wrapped in a blanket of silence, I knew I had finally arrived at the life I was always meant to live. Not controlled by fear, but guided by wonder. Not ruled by plans, but opened by presence. And now when people ask me what changed, I tell them nothing changed. And everything changed because sometimes it takes a near death to feel alive. Sometimes you have to lose your version of safety to gain the truth of freedom. And if you're reading this and waiting for the perfect time to take that trip to dance, to love, to speak, to try to forgive, to let go, to leap, I'm telling you now that the perfect time does not exist. Life isn't waiting for you to feel ready. It's just passing you by. So stop counting your coins and start counting sunsets. Stop fearing the fall and start trusting the flight. Stop living for one day and start living for now. Because now is all we've ever had. And when it's gone, we won't remember the money we saved, but the memories we lived. And I hope you live a life that needs no bucket list, because you turned every day into one. If this story touched your heart, if somewhere along the way you saw a reflection of your own life, if even for a moment your eyes welled up or your soul took a deep breath, then all I ask is this: please subscribe to our channel. Because here, we don't just tell stories. We give voice to the feelings that hide deep inside. We bring back the emotions that time tried to bury. And each story is a mirror that helps you see yourself more clearly. So join us on this journey, because the next story might just be yours. Subscribe now, and let's feel every moment together.